So Bentley is coming out with their new most powerful engine ever, and it's a hybrid. And on top of that, they're moving away from the W engine layout. So before we get into this video, definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff really does help me out a ton. But like I just said, Bentley is coming out with a new kind of power plant. No one really knows yet if it's for, you know, their Bentayga, their Continental GT. No one knows what model it's going to be for. However, it's kind of interesting and I kind of really like it. But today's going to be a bit of a shorter video just because there's not that much information out on it yet. Like I mentioned before, they're moving away from the W12. Now, if you don't know what a W12 engine is, or if you've never heard of a W engine before, first of all, I'm sure you're not really much of a Bugatti fan because the Bugattis use W16, but essentially what the W platform is, and I'll kind of put a diagram up on the screen right now to showcase it, but think of it like this. Think of it like two V engines just kind of mashed together from the side, and you have essentially double the amount of cylinders without taking as much space. I guess vertical space. Obviously horizontal, it's going to be a much wider platform. But a lot of the Bentleys in the past, not too far back, like we're not talking about like the classic Bentleys or anything, but a lot of the recent Bentleys have used this W12 engine. And it's okay, but it's definitely a gas guzzler. And with Bentley being a British company, I'm sure that their emissions and their different laws and stuff like that, especially now that we're in 2024, are a lot more stricter than even some of the stuff we see here in America or North America. So they're actually moving to a hybrid platform, and I honestly really love it. Now, if you've been a subscriber on my channel, I know I do spew a lot of negativity about EVs because me as a car reviewer, I say it all the time. It doesn't matter if I'm driving like a Tesla or an electric Volvo or whatever electric vehicle, they all feel the same to me. And despite slight differences in weight and how the suspension performs, essentially it feels like you're driving a giant RC car. And there's not a lot of soul, there's not a lot of feeling, and there's not a lot of emotion when you're driving it. And for me, I've driven plenty of fast cars, I've driven plenty of slow cars, and some of the favorite vehicles that I've driven on the channel, to be quite honest with you, don't necessarily mean that they're fast. Like, a perfect example of that is I personally love Miatas just because they offer such a cool driving experience. And with electric vehicles, I just feel like you don't really get that much. But yeah, anyways, going into today's video, we've got an article from Motor Trend. I'll leave it linked down in the description below to give them credit, but I'm just going to kind of go through some of the highlights. And again, it is a shorter article. There's not a lot of information on it right now. But here, just like looking at the title page, you can see a picture of it. Now, I don't know if these were released on Bentley's social media accounts or how they were released, but I've seen it on Motor Trend. Obviously, Motor Trend, Car and Driver, a couple other companies have access to it right now. And this is the look of it. It's essentially a twin-turbo V8 plug-in hybrid. Below here, you can see they kind of start comparing it to other so they use the PHEV. Now, if you don't know what that means, if you're unfamiliar with some hybrid platforms, essentially that just means plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. That's all that means. And also the title for this platform is kind of very non-creative. Like normally for the 2013, 2014 GT500s, you get the Trinity platform. For the newer GT350s, you get the Voodoo platform. Like, there's all bunch of different like names for engines. But what Bentley decided to go with, at least for now, is kind of comical because they just dubbed it the Ultra Performance Hybrid Powertrain. So that there's not much of a name to it immediately, but they do say it should make around 340 horsepower with approximately 150 to 200 of that horsepower and right around like hopefully 350 foot-pounds of torque just coming from the electric motor. Now, these are all estimates because these are what the Lamborghini Urus SE and the Porsche Cayenne Turbo E hybrid both deliver. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's going to be a 4-liter V8. Obviously, it's going to be twin turbocharged, so that is awesome right from the bat. But Bentley also plans to kind of mash the like little electric engine right between the actual internal combustion engine and the transmission, and it is going to be a plug-in hybrid. Now they are also saying it should have an estimated range of right around 50 miles of like full electric range before you have to use the gas engine. And I mean, I really like this. Again, I said before, like they probably have a lot worse restrictions when it comes to things, especially new vehicles over in the UK and Europe. And the different hybrids that I've reviewed on the channel, again, I really don't like fully EV vehicles that much for reasons that I've already stated. But hybrids are really nice because they're a good mix between, you know, nice fuel economy, a little bit more torque, and you still get the feel and kind of emotions of driving like a regular internal combustion engine vehicle. Now, there's also some pictures of this engine just kind of on display on the you know, different lines or whatever in Bentley's factory. So here, obviously, we've seen this before. Here's kind of a bit of a close-up of, I guess, where that looks like the bell housing for the transmission, and then here you can actually see it on a complete subframe. Obviously, I have the brake setup and everything right there, and I think it's very complicated to look at, like most modern engines. But it looks really, really good, and I just love the fact that they already have it on a full drivetrain. From the article, it is believed that it is going to be powering the newer Bentley Bentegas, which, if you don't know what they are, they're essentially the Bentley SUVs. I can also see them putting this in like their Continental and just kind of mass producing this drivetrain if it has a lot of success, and just using it in different models in the future. But again, I really, really do love this decision. I think that Bentley is kind of keeping the soul of the car with the internal combustion engine, but also kind of maximizing the you know, proficiency of the output as well as the fuel economy with like a smaller hybrid engine connected to it. And honestly, if any car is worthy of being either fully electric or a hybrid, it's definitely got to be like these larger luxury cars. Because if you think about the people that buy these, I'm sure, you know, there's plenty of car people out there that might be, you know, Bentley fans and know the history of the brand and everything, and how they, you know, used to be really big into racing. But the majority of the people that buy these cars are either business moguls or movie stars, or people that, you know, might not care as much about cars as some, you know, like your normal enthusiast, but they want something luxurious, big, kind of dependable. And with, you know, adding something like electric, it's not like it's already extremely heavy to begin with. So like it's not that big of a deal in my eyes. And again, I personally think that this is a good kind of move by Bentley. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, whether you hate it, whether you like it. But while you're down there, again, definitely be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff really does help me out a ton. We are so close to hitting 5,000 subscribers, and I am going to be uploading on a more normal schedule than I have been. I know I've been really, really lax in the previous month, or previous months, I should say, but we're going back to a normal schedule. So there's going to be plenty more content heading your guys' way. But like always, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.